What's up, guys? Doing this video because the other one got erased and I just wanted to do it a little bit better. Basically what I was going over was the vp70z, the evolution of the vp70z, and where it's come through with the vp9. H&K vp70z, H&K vp9. A lot of myth was out there that the H&K vp9 was a copycat of the PPQ by Walther, which it absolutely is not. It's an evolution from the vp70z. If you look at the two guns, you look at the body lines, they're almost identical. Even in the plastic, in the polymer, you still have this weird looking, almost, it still is very visually seen in the polymer on the new vp9. I went over the handles in the last video, but I erased that, so I'll go over them again. The curvature in the handle, where it rests in your hand, same curvature. The guns feel identical because it has that same style handle and the same angle. They left that angle the same. The only difference is they cut it a little bit sharper and shortened it to where this one flows all the way back at a nice, I guess you would say, wider angle, where this one's a sharper angle. It still feels the same in the hand. As far as the drop is identical on the smaller back strap. Well, not identical, a little bit more, because they want, this is an improvement, this is an evolution. So this is the medium back strap, but with the smaller back strap, it almost has the same flow. But again, you have the flow, but it stops here and shoots down instead of flowing out. And of course, it's modernized. So they added texturing, they added the back strap, they added the finger grooves. I mean, there's a lot of upgrades. We're going from magazine release down here to magazine release on the side. This one has no takedown. I mean, no slide release, where this has a slide release. Your takedown options up here. This has the Sig Sauer style takedown because HK went to that in the more modern times. I don't know the exact year, but main reason why I'm making this video and redoing it was because I had somebody, I don't know why they clearly don't know anything about guns, so I'm just gonna, they can't take my word for it, so I'm going to bring out a book. This is the Jennings Gun Guide. It basically covers, this is an older model because the gun that I have, that I'm showing you, is in this book, and I'm bringing up dates. And this is the vp70z, or vp70. There's a vp70zm, vp70z, and a vp70. But what we want to concentrate on is these words right here. 1972 to 1986 this gun was produced. So there you go, there's the proof. It's in black and white, it's not out of my mouth. That's the exact year that this gun started in production. And to shoot another myth, let's go back a couple pages to Glock, and we'll go into Glock. 1986 is one of the more common, but they were actually in production in '83 when they had this model out, the original Glock 17 with the long frame. You don't see too many of them around anymore. But there's your myth about Glock came out before H&K. Not so. I believe they were 10 years ahead, H&K, with the polymer pistol. 10 years ahead with the striker fire, 10 years ahead with the polymer, 10 years ahead with the high capacity magazine. 18 and 119 out of the holster. That was unheard of in 1972. Reason being, as I said in the last video, this gun was specifically designed, hopefully, that the military would pick it up. That's why they had the machine gun, the machine pistol. It was classified as a machine pistol as well because of the stock with the selector switch on it, 3-round burst. It was designed for the military. It didn't catch with the military, so then they started releasing the vp70M was the original for the military. M meaning military, selector fire switch. vp70Z and vp70 were the public models when they didn't have any luck with the military. And sadly, the gun still didn't take off in the public because at that time, you got to remember, we're in the 70s. Everything's made out of metal. You know, the mindset was plastic in a gun, would that really work? I mean, we're talking about H&K was the pioneers of this idea of using polymer, and the gun sadly failed. And then 10 years later, and H&K never went back to the polymer design until recently, or when the USB came out. And I don't know quite the date, but they died off because they didn't have any luck, because nobody would buy a plastic gun. 10 years later, Glock did an awesome job in bringing that polymer into the world of guns, because they were just the #1 seller, and they proved that it was a great. I don't know why H&K didn't push the issue, because they had a good revolutionary idea, but it just wasn't selling back then. I mean, and then with Glock coming out 10 years, everybody wants to say that this is a copycat gun, but it's not a copycat gun. They just went back to their roots. They pulled out the original vp70z, the first ever polymer striker fire pistol, and made this. And if you look at these guns and hold these guns side by side, you'll see where the history came from, and why this gun, it doesn't, and you'll see why. If you pick up a PPQ and you pick up this gun too, and you look at the PPQ and look at this gun, there are so many influences from the PPQ. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they even have the same takedown design, the same takedown lever. Not many guns have this type of takedown system. Not many at all, you know, and this is the original. You know, you pull this down, you pull the slide off, and the gun comes apart. The PPQ is set up just like that, 1972. So, I mean, come on, who's copying who? For all those guys that say that this is a copycat of the PPQ. It's not a copycat. This is a copycat gun. Yeah, it's an evolution of the vp70z. Get it right, guys. But anyways, I just wanted to show the facts in black and white so you guys can see. And there you go. It's just my look at the evolution of the vp70z to the H&K vp9, which is an awesome gun. I love this gun. I've fired it a few times, and it is just beautiful compared to the H&K vp70z, which is 1972 technology, but awesome technology for that time. H&K was definitely a company that was ahead of its time, and they should have continued on that path, but sadly they didn't. They let it go and stuck to metal frame guns, and I think the next one out was the squeeze cocker, and then they go on to, they have another version of the squeeze cocker, and they had a lot of pistols out, but they're most famous for those two. There was a real famous 22 pistol that was based on this design, but all metal, and I can't remember the model number of the gun. I used to have it, and I sadly got rid of it. Had a squeeze cocker too, got rid of that. Two guns I regret getting rid of, but I got other things that I wanted at the time. But anyways, just to look at the evolution of this gun, to this one, I think it was a great job by H&K. I hope this steers people in the right direction, that the H&K vp9 is not a copycat of the PPQ by any means, any near far. It is based off of this design here and an evolution of the vp70z into this. The reason why it feels and looks like the PPQ is because the PPQ got a lot of their ideas out of this gun. This is the grandfather, the beginning of the polymer and striker fire pistol. There's been a lot of people that have copied a lot of designs. I mean, Glock wants to say that they came up with the idea of the striker fire and they never looked at any other pistol, but I'm sorry, this pistol was out 10 years before Glock was even invented. So, you know, there's too much. The striker fire system is seen in this gun in 1972, and Glock wants to be the creator of the striker fire pistol, and you got all these people on the internet saying Glock is #1, Glock is the creator, and all this misinformation where nobody knows history of guns and don't know anything about the actual history of where designs came from. A lot of polymer ideas came from this gun right here. It's not the best gun in the world, but this is the start of that history of striker fire and polymer. It had a 20-pound trigger. I found out the actual weight of this trigger. It's 20 pounds. That's why it's so heavy. It's one of the worst triggers out there, but there was a reason for it, because it was set up for the public. It was designed for the selector switch on the back, you know, the 3-round burst option. So you got a 20-pound trigger pull up there. But yeah, just a beautiful evolution from this to this it's a great accomplishment by HK. But there you go. I just wanted to do that video and try and steer some people in the right direction, and hopefully they don't get the idea that this is a copycat gun from the PPQ. And I'm going to say it again, it is not. So you guys take it easy. Have a good afternoon.